there, welcome back to my channel. It is of course Chelsea of She Designs Things, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you what not to do when creating your Google site. So of course, if you'd like to know more, then stay tuned. Alright, so this is one of my latest Google site templates that I've been working on, and I created it specifically for this reason, for this video, and that is to kind of show you what not to do when you are creating your Google site. So this one is called Soul House, and it literally serves no purpose. I will not be selling it. It's actually built around another template that I saw on FreePic, and I totally jacked all the images for it just to be able to create this, to show you with you how manipulation works inside of Google sites, but also why it's not responsive to certain design aesthetics, and it's more business centered. So let's just take a look at this site as it is on a full screen. Now here is the site on my full screen, and this is a 32-inch monitor that I'm using, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go over what you'll see and kind of how it looks when you're looking at it on a full screen device. Now let me just refresh it real quick. Here is the Soul House view. It looks pretty good. From this view it looks like a really nice website. It has the makings of a really nice boutique style skincare line. It just looks really cool and quite fluid, and you would never know that it was a Google site unless someone like straight up said like, yeah, this is a Google site, because it is. Now what totally gives it away is Google's limitations, and now let's go ahead and take a look at those limitations, and I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like behind the scenes. So here is the behind the scenes of this site, and this is what you don't want to do when creating your Google site. I love this image, and it is quite big. It looks quite nice, and this is using the new feature, which is a spacer, to kind of give it that shifted effect. The only issue is if you wanted to view it on a mobile device, such as like this in the preview mode, it still keeps that giant Grand Canyon sized gap. Now typically on a different website builder platform, you're able to create multiple views, including a mobile view, which is how things look when viewed in a mobile viewed on a mobile device. I'm also going to share with you how to view it. Like if you are using Windows, it's F12 obviously, and you want to make sure you're viewing the device in an actual mobile device, because sometimes the view in here lies. It'll show you the scroll bar when you view it on an actual device. It doesn't exist, so just keep that in mind. So I do like to use multiple ways of viewing my Google sites, and that's one way of me ensuring that they always look really nice on any device. That's just a tip. All right, now scrolling on down, as I said, that spacer box does still stay there, and this isn't bad, but it's not the best. I would prefer it to kind of shrink the information a little bit. Now here is where we get the issues. This is not how we want to start this next section. We don't want to start it with these oils that are being listed, because it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense because this is actually the image banner that we're going to use, and this is the image header. So this information here should have been first, but because Google sites do not respond like that, they don't shift that way, you can't make commands and actions to stack this before this. That's not possible. So because this comes afterwards, again, as I always say, everything on this side shifts this way. So everything to the left shifts to the right. So everything here will stack on top of each other like that whenever you go to a mobile device. And you can see that whenever you hit the mobile view, that is something that kind of occurs every time. So let me just remove that. That's why this is just, it looks like a great design from here, but it's not when it comes to the actual Google site. So to fix that, you would literally have to move this to this side, and then now we have to deal with this part here, which is the lower half. Now I'm going to switch this back just so you can see what it looks like back in this mode. Still got that text there, doesn't look right, and the Grand Canyon size gap in between here, because there is no possible way to eliminate the spacer when you're viewing it on a mobile device, and to cause this to span, that kind of sucks. Let's look at it here on a regular one. Yep, it's still pretty atrocious if you're looking at it on an iPhone 12 Pro. It's something that you definitely want to pay attention to, is when you're using the spacer, if you're viewing it like this, it looks great, but it just doesn't respond responsively. So you're gonna have to make some adjustments to the way you have it laid out. And again, that's by taking this, which looks cool here, and moving it to this side, taking the font, which we have shifted this direction, and what we can do is highlight it and juxtapose it the other way so that it's, you know, it just looks better and a bit more seamless. So that way, now what you could do if you want to give it a little stylization is take that center one and move it to the side so it will kind of bounce back and forth. That way, when you do look at it on a mobile view or device, it does show up like this, and I think that looks pretty neat. So going back though, as I said, you need to have that header. Like, I have it listed as normal text, but generally speaking, make sure you list it as a header. And then if you wanted to, you could change the font, like what it says, but I'm gonna leave it as header, and I'm gonna adjust the color to be darker. Cool. And so now that I've done that, I am going to, let's see, deal with this spacer situation we got going on over here. Now we could totally shift this down here and put it at the bottom, but there's no need to do that, because when you hit delete, it just, everything shifts up in Google Sites. Nothing stays where you place it. So for example, if you were to drag and drop an image into any sort of section in a Google site, it's literally going to just go all the way to the top. So that's what the spacer is for. It kind of helps you with your layout, except when you're looking at it on a mobile device, yeah, it doesn't do that. So please just give it a moment to load. So now you can see I have the image there, and then at the bottom for you to order now. So it does flow, it makes sense. You can talk about, you know, the oils that you have here, and then ask people to order it. And then the image is still at the bottom, and the bottom image in that section does resize appropriately instead of staying like really big like it is right here. Now back to this view again, because again, this would be the next section that is absolutely atrocious, and it's atrocious because again, you don't have this being stacked in the right direction. And then here though, that spacer that you're using to shift everything down, again, just Grand Canyon size gaps don't make any sense on a mobile phone, unless you're trying to get that look of negative space. You can do without it. So I'm going to take this, hit delete, and then this image I'm going to shift up and make it just a little bit smaller, come in with the crop ever so slightly, and now it's a little bit smaller, but let's just see how much of a difference that has made when it comes to the view of this site. So we still have that ridiculous Grand Canyon size gap. Even though we deleted it, there is another spacer between this because of how we're setting it, which, and to be honest, the only way you can really fix it is to adjust the spacer here, which you can bring up so that it's just not so big, or you can delete it. But let's see what happens if you were to adjust the spacer. Alright, so it's a little less annoying. However, I would have preferred to see the image actually go next to the text, and that is something that a lot of people really want to see inside of their Google site. That's just not possible presently. Okay, so now let's take a look and see what it looks like. I'm going to exit this view, head on back over here. and you know, still has that Grand Canyon size gap. Now what we can do is kind of span this and then take these and make them smaller, just like that. And now let's take a quick look to see. All right, so here we have what it looks like now, what you do on a mobile device. And it's not perfect. There is so much that I would change. Like I would increase the font size when viewing on mobile, but that's just me. That's personal preference. So now let's just go ahead and head back over to what it looks like here. Now, like I said, this is technically the header for this section. So we would want this to stack the opposite way, so we would have to either switch this so that this handcrafted soap information would go over there, or we would have to make some other changes. So add the text here, and we can, let's see, I'm going to add it here, take the text that was added onto this one and put it back on the side, drag this down just a bit. Now remember, everything that's on this side will stack on top. So what do you think will happen if we leave it like this? You're gonna end up with an image in the center. All right, so now I've gone ahead and made some adjustments to the way it looks. As you see, I took the text that was the text that was originally right here and off to the side, and I decided to just go ahead and move it over and make their own sections out of it. So let me show you what it looks like just right here. Now it does to me look funny, like no lie, I just think it looks funny. However, it looks a lot better on a mobile device this way than it would on a mobile device had I not made those changes. So now here we see the handcrafted soaps, which is the header, and then the information that follows, and then the image, followed by the paragraph again regarding the 100% organic blah 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 and then the image after. Now it is still a bit smaller. I do have some space in between here, and that space in between, just so you know, makes it so that it appears down just a little bit more. All right, so moving forward, now let's talk about this section here. There is nothing wrong with this section right here, and that's because I used a regular 3-image Google section. So right here, if you just drag and drop that in, you'll actually, this is literally the section that I used to create this one here. The only difference is these buttons are PayPal embedded buttons that I have created, and I've made videos about my embed buttons and all the different ones that I create several times. Man, I'm so tired of this internet. Spectrum is trash. Ugh. So anyways, yeah, I've been talking about these buttons for a while. It's literally an add to cart button that you can create inside of PayPal, and click add to cart, and then it's going to add it to your cart. Now I have 4 things in my cart because I've done this several times, so I'm going to remove one, head on back to Soul House, add to cart. Once you do add to cart, it'll log you in if you're logged in, and then you can hit continue shopping and it'll take you back to the website. That is not something that you have to worry about coding. It's literally included inside of the button. It's just included inside a button. And then I added another one, so now you see I have 2, continue shopping. Now on a mobile device, it also responds accordingly because again, it's already created to look this way, so there was nothing I had to do differently. So that's about it. When it came to here, the only thing is I made the buttons, you know, in action. And then I'm going to show you what this section looks like on a mobile device. All right, so here we have that mobile device view, and I'm going to click add to cart, and let's see the mobile view. Once you select add to cart, it's going to add the item to your cart, and then if you hit continue shopping, it will take you right back to where you were and what you've added to the cart. The only thing I haven't added is an actual shopping cart to this Google site, but we'll talk about that in a separate video. Now, right after the PayPal button that I use is literally just an image. So there's nothing to explain here. I just put in an image, and I didn't use an image as a background. I decided I want the image to kind of be on the foreground. If you use the background image, then I would have to use a spacer, and I didn't feel like having that spacer because then it wouldn't resize the image, and then the image would just be really massive and people would be scrolling forever, and I just didn't want that. Now, the next part is also kind of a really cool layout. This is an image that was two separate ones that I just stacked and then imported into here as the way it looks. You can do this inside of Canva. If you've ever created a file in Canva and then drop two images inside and then move them around, you can create different shapes and looks. However you want it to look is totally your choice. Now, the know when the launches come, all of this is literally just text, and I didn't do anything different to the text except for how I centered it. So just be aware of how you are centering your text or how you're aligning it. So because there's not much information here and there's a great deal of space in between here, that's why you kind of see it looking the way that it does. But also keep in mind, when you go to add text, you can decide on the line spacing. You can do it either individually or within the theme. You can do double, which I don't know why anyone would do double spacing. I'm not a fan of double spacing. So you can do double, you can do 1.25 or single, and right now this one uses single over here. So nothing crazy, literally just how that is. Another spacer followed by text. This is an image as well, nothing to worry about as far as what it looks like. It does, when you resize, when you look at it on a mobile device, it does look exactly as it is expected to. All right, so now let's go ahead and just take a quick look at everything that we have accomplished. And not only everything we've accomplished, but what we've done to make it look better for a mobile device. And there's so much more we can do here. I want to really just do one last thing and show you guys one last thing when it comes to your Google site. So if you click on theme and you're looking at your theme, I'm going to hit edit. Spacing is something people don't really pay much attention to, is what I've come to realize. They don't even notice it's there. But spacing is essential to what your site will look like. Right now it's set as compact. You also have cozy, which gives you more space, and comfortable, which I think most people's sites are going to be set at comfortable, which I'll show you what it looks like when you do a comfortable view with this kind of site. As you can see, I have a lot more space in between elements, and you really don't have to use the spacer to be able to give it the illusion of more space. Now see, that gap is way bigger just because of that, and it changes the way things look here at the bottom as well. So just keep that in mind. Always pay attention to the spacing and the density. That's the spacing density. So cozy and compact. All right, so compact is what it will be. All right, so I do hope this video has been helpful. I know I tried my best to keep it simple. These things can get complicated, especially if I have some custom HTML inside of it, which this one does not have. Well, doesn't really have it inside of here. The footer is very easy. All my footers are made almost exactly the same, which is why I haven't gone over it. It's literally just text with images. And then this obviously right here is an embed. So that's pretty much it. All right, now if you want to see a video of how I make Google sites, don't forget to leave specific information down below telling me the type of Google site you want to see me create. I do plan to make that video sometime soon once I get kind of a consensus of what everybody wants to see and how I create my Google sites, such as this one. This one kind of gave you an overview, a little bit of an idea of how to create a Google site just in this one. Now, this, just so you know, is an image, And what else is an image? Something else I didn't point out that's an image. These gray lines are images, so keep that in mind. All right, so that's that. But yes, make sure you leave that comment down below. And also, I do have a updated link to my buy me a coffee. For some reason it was broke, so just make sure you can, help me make these videos, because I am self-employed and I do enjoy making these videos for you guys. As always, thanks so much for watching, and of course, laters.